In the business world, the right decisions can transform small businesses into global giants. At the same time, the wrong choices can destroy large consolidated brands. History is full of examples of companies that, at one point, led their markets, but stumbled upon fatal strategic errors. That's why we're going to show you three very famous cases that show how seemingly small decisions can have catastrophic consequences. Understanding these stories can be crucial if you want to start a business or are looking for references to grow in your career. After all, learning from other people's mistakes is a powerful way to avoid pitfalls along your path. The stories we're going to show you now are of three companies that were gigantic but ended up making wrong decisions and losing their empires: Blockbuster, Yahoo, and Kodak. So, let's go. Blockbuster, the streaming that never was. In the 2000s, Blockbuster was a large movie rental chain. With thousands of stores around the world, it dominated the movie rental market on tapes and DVDs. Its stores were very well structured, transforming movie rental as a form of entertainment, a great experience for customers. Meanwhile, a small company called Netflix began to emerge, offering DVD rentals that were chosen and paid for online and sent by mail. The idea was simple. Initially, users rented movies directly from the website, paying individual amounts for each title. A few months later, the company launched a subscription system. For a monthly fee of $21.99, customers could access a wide selection of movies with no fines or fixed deadlines for return. Thus, the movies were delivered directly to the chosen address. In just 1 year, the business reached a turnover of $1 million. In 1999, this figure rose to $5 million. However, despite the significant growth, the company still faced financial instability. In 2000, the founders of Netflix approached Blockbuster with a proposal to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for $50 million. Their response? A categorical refusal from Blockbuster. Blockbuster's CEO at the time considered Netflix irrelevant and its business model unpromising. Many point out that Blockbuster's management even treated Netflix's offer as a joke. At the time, Blockbuster's decision seemed correct to its managers, especially because Blockbuster continued to grow significantly. The number of stores increased, and the company believed that the experience in its stores was something unique and differentiated. In fact, with some delay, the company decided to enter the online rental market to compete with Netflix. However, Blockbuster believed that the experience of visiting physical stores still had its value, at least for a moment, because Netflix also showed growth in its business, with a constant increase in subscribers to its service. In 2007, Netflix made a decision that would transform the market. It abandoned the DVD rental service and launched its streaming platform. With this innovation, Netflix subscribers began to watch series and movies instantly on their computers. From that moment on, the company registered constant growth year after year. Meanwhile, due to this innovation by Netflix, Blockbuster faced a growing crisis. Its revenue plummeted and the number of stores decreased significantly. In 2010, while Netflix reached 16 million subscribers and a revenue of $2 billion, Blockbuster declared bankruptcy. What happened next is history. Netflix became a pioneer in streaming, revolutionizing the way we consume entertainment. Today, it is one of the most valuable companies in the world. What can we learn from this? Blockbuster was slow to notice a change in consumer behavior. It underestimated the potential and vision of small competitors, such as Netflix at the time. Therefore, underestimating innovation can be fatal. Paying close attention to changes in the market and being willing to adapt your vision is essential in business. What seems small today can be huge tomorrow. Yahoo, the lost kingdom of the internet. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Yahoo was the leading internet portal, offering services such as email, news, and especially a search engine. It was one of the most recognized and successful brands on the web. Meanwhile, in 1998, two young Stanford students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, founded Google, initially as an academic project to improve internet search results. At the time, Google was small and still looking for investors and partners to grow, so Google's founders offered their technology and company to Yahoo for $1 million. But Yahoo's team refused, believing that their search engine was sufficient and far superior for the time. Later, in 2002, Yahoo got a second chance. This time, Google's price had risen to $5 billion. But again, Yahoo refused, considering the value too high. So the company preferred to continue investing in other projects and its search engine. Meanwhile, Google grew exponentially, refining its algorithms, offering more relevant results, and investing in digital advertising through Google Ads. As a result, Google's market share skyrocketed, exceeding 90%, while Yahoo began to lose a lot of relevance in the market. Then, in 2017, Yahoo was sold to Verizon for $4.8 billion US, a value much lower than it could have achieved if it had taken advantage of its opportunities. And Google currently has a market value of more than $2 trillion. What have we learned from this? It is not enough to be a market leader. You must innovate and recognize the potential of competitors, because Yahoo's limited vision prevented it from seeing the future and understanding that its services were not the best that could be offered at the time. Kodak, the invention that was not used. Founded in 1888, Kodak was an icon of photography for more than a century. Its market strategy was based on selling affordable cameras and on profiting from photographic film and developing chemicals. In 1975, a Kodak engineer, Steve Sasson, invented the first digital camera. He presented the prototype to the company's leadership, but the reaction was lukewarm. Kodak decided not to invest in the new technology and shelve the project because its managers feared that it could harm its core business, the sale of photographic film. However, while Kodak hesitated, companies such as Sony, Canon, and Fuji realized the potential of digital photography and began investing heavily. As a result, in the 1990s and 2000s, the digital camera market exploded. And when Kodak finally entered the digital segment, it was already far behind its competitors. The brand even tried to regain ground but was unable to reinvent itself. The film market, which had previously been its mainstay, almost completely disappeared with the arrival of smartphones and digital cameras. In 2012, Kodak declared bankruptcy, marking the decline of one of the most iconic brands in history. What have we learned from this? We can never neglect the future to protect the present. Sometimes it is necessary to sacrifice part of the business to ensure the company's long-term survival. Therefore, the most important thing is always to study and understand consumer behavior, pain points, and needs. Assess market trends and anticipate them to adapt to changes that, in most cases, are inevitable. What do these cases have in common? Although the stories of Blockbuster, Yahoo, and Kodak are different, they share important lessons. 1. Lack of long-term vision. All the companies mentioned underestimated the impact of market changes and failed to see the innovation potential. 2. Resistance to change. The fear of abandoning established business models prevented these companies from adapting to new trends. 3. A bit of arrogance. Initial success caused them to underestimate smaller competitors and new technologies, leading to complacency. How to avoid these mistakes? If you are starting as an entrepreneur or looking to grow professionally, here are some practical tips that we can learn from these stories. 1. Keep an eye on trends. Don't ignore changes in consumer behavior and technological advances. So, anticipate them so you won't be surprised. 2. Have the courage to innovate. Don't cling to the status quo. Sometimes you need to change before the market forces you to, and it's too late. 3. Value small opportunities. Many great ideas start small, so evaluate carefully before discarding an opportunity that may seem irrelevant at the time. 4. Listen to other perspectives. Arrogance and self-sufficiency are very dangerous, so be open to outside opinions and willing to learn from them. With all this in mind, the mistakes of Blockbuster, Yahoo, and Kodak are not just curious stories. They are powerful reminders of how strategic decisions shape the future of any business. So, learning from these failures can help you avoid similar pitfalls and build a path to success. In the business world, the only constant is change. Those who don't keep up get left behind. That's why working on your foundation to make the right decisions is essential to success. If you want to learn about the most common mistakes made by beginner entrepreneurs and small businesses to better prepare yourself for your entrepreneurial journey, watch this video that shows each of them. That way, You'll be able to avoid them in the right and professional way. To watch it, just click on this button above or the link in the description.
We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to know more about how to set up and manage your own business, visit our YouTube channel where we have several videos about this subject, and if you liked it, share this video with your friends and family to help them too. Thanks and see you next time.